Hello, friends on Facebook and all social media platforms. I greet all of you. In the past 2 weeks, it's been a serious theological debate online sparked by an article I wrote on lowering of the clergy or carrying the clergy by clergy. And just 2 days ago, I put out an official notice asking everyone to lay the issue to rest. So I stepped back. The reason is simple. I discovered that it was becoming more toxic, less than becoming a theological debate. And a lot who has no theological background started making some abusive comments, and which wouldn't help us. It didn't help us to have a healthy conversation. And somebody came to my inbox suggesting that the Digital Archdeacon was attacking me. Far from that. Digital Archdeacon started his platform right after I started. I started over a year before he started. While I was doing this, he usually come on my comment section, and we usually have theological debates. He didn't agree quite on most of my view. I approach the Anglicanism from the world view. I don't approach Anglicanism from the Church of Nigerian point of view. So my view usually differs because I speak of the global Anglican provinces, bearing in mind that Anglican Church is in over 165 countries of the world. That makes it unique. So I try to carry other provinces. Of course, you know, I live in the US, so those around me here who discovers that the Anglican Church has a different approach in different countries. It is not usually the same. So I usually have an issue when somebody says that this is not Anglican, because obviously provinces have different things. But there are some core practices of the Anglican Church that cannot be touched. So like I said, I have somebody who has also supported the Digital Archdeacon by giving him contracts to handle both my website and that of my friends here in the US. So I really have no grudge over whatever he says about me. I believe we are just having a theological conversation. Having said that, there is something somebody wrote on my page, which I discovered on the comment section in the platform of the Anglican laity and clergy, which I consider very disrespectful. But again, I think he was also writing out of ignorance. He saw me with the preaching band, which is also called the Geneva attire or academic band. And he was talking to me that, oh, you said you are a theologian, but look at you having preaching band with a cope. I felt he was ignorant, so I would want to call his attention to that he was wrong. Preaching bands are not worn only by the preacher. Preaching band is part of cleric habits. I am going to tell you the genesis or the background of preaching scarf, preaching band. Preaching band, preaching scarf, and the Canterbury cap. They are originally from the Geneva times. Academians it was part of academic attire. The hood, the preaching scarf, the zocchetto, all of that, they were from the medieval time. But the hood, the preaching band, and the preaching scarf are purely academics before it evolved into church use. But you can use it with the cope, because the cope itself is not a Eucharistic vestment. The cope is a ceremonial vestment that can be used for evening songs, it can be used for burial, it can be used for baptism, it can be used for synods or other celebrations, not necessarily during the Eucharist. That is why if you are wearing the cope and you are also the celebrant, during celebration, you are required to remove the cope because the cope is a Eucharistic vestment. We have Eucharistic vestments as the stole and the herb and chasuble, but the cope itself is not a liturgical, is not a Eucharistic vestment. In other parts of the world, priests, that deacons wear cope. It's not actually a mark of an archdeacon. Deacons wear cope. But when it comes to Church of Nigeria, I think the province of Church of Nigeria reduced it to only senior clergy. Even in the province of Church of Nigeria, they do not even agree across dioceses. Dioceses from Owerri province would even wear cope as canons. And while in dioceses on the Niger and those in the Niger province will only wear cope as archdeacons. Something applies to cincture. It's a clerical attire. Now, the person was arguing that with preaching band, it has to be the preacher. No, it's not the preacher. Anybody that is a priest can decide to wear the preaching band. And because if the preaching band is not a Eucharistic service and it can be used for evening songs, that means the person wearing a cope can as well wear the preaching. For lawyers, it is called B. What you can use it with is dressing like having a suit on, like I'm dressed now. I am not supposed to put the preaching band. It's only lawyers who wear it with suit, because for them it's called, I think, legal bib. But for us, it's a preaching band. Having said that, what you said was wrong, my brother. This is trying to correct you. Historically, an academic reference, I want to reference a great theologian and master of theological vestments, Janet Mayer, a historian who wrote on this, said, and I quote, Janet Mayer, A History of Ecclesiastical Dress. Mayer addresses the evolution of clerical attire, noting that bands became a standard part of clerical dress in the 17th centuries. They were worn by clergy in various Protestant denominations, not exclusively during preaching, but as a symbol of their office. And I quote another great theologian of Reformation, William D. Maxwell. The liturgical portion of the Geneva service book used by John Hawkes. Maxwell examines the attire prescribed in the Geneva tradition, indicating that preaching bands were part of the regular cleric dress, reflecting the minister's role as a teacher and preacher, regardless of whether they were delivering a sermon at a particular service or not. I also want to quote an article written by a renowned theologian as well on this preaching ban. This article it's on Wikipedia, by the way. You can Google it and find it. This article provides an overview of the history and use of bands, stating that they became identified with cleric, legal, and academic individuals. In the early 18th centuries, it notes that bands were worn by clergy in various Protestant traditions, including Anglican, Methodist, and Presbyterian, as a part of their formal attire. So you can use the cope, which is a ceremonial wear, to wear your preaching band. Because the name goes as preaching band does not indicate that it must be a priest preaching that we use it. Again, can I make this very clear to you, that the same way you can wear your hood without graduating, and it only symbolizes that you have academic knowledge, it doesn't mean that every priest wearing the hood is in the academic field. So this is to correct this so that people don't twist it. My brother, I'm not coming in anger. I will also write another article that will accompany this video for our learning. We are in a world where we learn every day. Thank you, and God bless you. See you next time. Bye-bye.